A confession, written on All Hallows Eve, 1889. I have been shattering people for 20 years, and tonight my daughter walked into the maze. My name is Marcus Holloway. I am 53 years old. For 2 decades, I have operated Holloway's Mirror Maze, a carnival attraction that travels from town to town, drawing crowds who seek the harmless thrill of disorientation, the playful confusion of endless reflections. But my mirrors do not merely reflect, they reveal. Some mirrors show the past, people who entered the maze and never left, still wandering in reflection, trapped in a moment they cannot escape. Some mirrors show the future, deaths that haven't happened yet, fates that await, endings that cannot be avoided. And in the center of the maze stands one mirror that shows neither past nor future, but truth. The truth beneath the mask, the reality beneath the lie. What you really are when all pretense is stripped away. For 20 years I have been guiding specific people to that center mirror. People who needed to see the truth. People who deserved to have their self-deceptions shattered. I thought I was doing good. Thought I was revealing necessary truths. Thought I was serving some higher purpose. But tonight, my daughter Clara entered the maze, and I have just realized I have been guiding her toward the center mirror all along, following a pattern I didn't consciously know, fulfilling a purpose I never intended. And now she is close to the center, close to the truth, close to seeing what I really am. Let me explain what I have done. Welcome to Fright Club. Subscribe for more psychological horror. Comment where you're watching from. Now, The Mirrors. October 31st, 1869. I was 33 years old, newly widowed, traveling with a failing carnival that barely earned enough to sustain itself. I had purchased the Mirror Maze from the estate of its previous owner, an old man named Silas Corvus, who had died suddenly with no heirs. The maze was a simple attraction, a tent filled with angled mirrors, creating corridors and dead ends, designed to disorient and amuse. Children loved it. Adults laughed at their confusion. It was harmless entertainment. But Corvus's notes, which came with the purchase, suggested something else. Pages of diagrams showing the maze's geometry. Calculations of angles and reflections, and strange annotations. Past accumulates in mirrors 3, 7, 11. Future bleeds through mirrors 5, 9, 13. Truth resides in mirror 15. I thought the old man had been mad. I ignored his notes and operated the maze as simple entertainment. Until Halloween night 1869, when I discovered the mirrors were not merely reflective glass. A drunk had entered the maze late in the evening. I heard him stumbling through the corridors, cursing the reflections, looking for the exit. Then I heard him scream. I found him collapsed before mirror number 7, staring at his reflection with absolute horror. "What is it?" I asked. "What's wrong?" He pointed at the mirror with a shaking hand. "That's not me. That's my brother. My brother who died 10 years ago. But he's there, in the mirror. He's there and he's looking at me and he knows what I did." I looked at the mirror, saw only the drunk's reflection, nothing else. "There's nothing there. It's just you." "No." He grabbed my arm. "He's there. He's trapped in there, in the glass. He's been there since he died. He stopped, couldn't continue. He fled the maze, fled the carnival. I never saw him again. But I remembered his words, remembered Corvus's notes. Past accumulates in mirrors 3, 7, 11. I went back to the maze after closing, stood before mirror 7, looked at my reflection, and I saw her, my wife, dead 6 months, standing behind my reflection, Not moving, not breathing, just standing, staring at me with eyes that held consciousness but no life, trapped in the mirror, in the past, in the moment of her death. I stumbled backward, told myself it was grief. Hallucination, exhaustion, but I knew better. I knew what I had seen. The mirrors were not merely glass, they were traps, prisons, places where certain reflections became permanent, where past moments crystallized into eternal present. And Corvus had known, had documented it, had perhaps been using it for purposes I was only beginning to understand. I studied Corvus's notes obsessively through that winter. The maze was packed away for the off-season, but I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen. The notes described 3 types of mirrors, carefully positioned throughout the maze's geometry. Past mirrors, 3, 7, 11. Accumulate reflections of those who died in proximity to the maze. They retain the final moment of consciousness. They cannot move forward or back. They exist in eternal recognition of their own ending. Future mirrors, 5, 9, 13. Show what will be rather than what is. The reflection ages faster than the subject, sometimes shows death before it arrives. Useful for those who need warning or preparation. Truth mirror, 15 center. Shows what lies beneath. No past, no future, only essence. Most cannot bear what they see. Most flee before reaching it. Those who look fully upon themselves either shatter or transcend. Most shatter. The notes included casualty reports. People who had looked into the truth mirror and broken, mentally, spiritually, completely. Some had killed themselves. Some had gone mad. A few had simply stopped being who they were, abandoning their lives and identities to become something else. The truth is rarely kind, Corvus had written, but it is always necessary. I guide the wicked to the center. I let them see what they really are. I watch them break. This is my service. This is my calling. He had been using the maze as judgment, as execution, as a way to destroy people who, in his estimation, deserved destruction. And he had kept records. 23 years of operation. 167 people guided to the truth mirror. 143 broken by what they saw. 24 suicides. 14 who went mad. 105 who simply vanished, fled their lives, abandoned their identities, disappeared. I should have destroyed the maze, should have burned the notes and refused to continue Corvus's work, but I didn't, because I had seen my wife in Mirror 7, had seen her trapped, had realized that she was one of Corvus's victims. She had visited the Carnival the night she died, had entered the maze, had seen something that sent her fleeing into the street where a carriage struck her. Corvus had killed my wife, or the maze had, or she had killed herself after seeing what she really was. And I wanted to understand why, wanted to know what she had seen, wanted to use the maze as Corvus had used it, not for entertainment, for judgment. When the Carnival season opened in spring 1870, I redesigned the maze, made the pathways more complex, made certain mirrors easier to find and others nearly impossible to avoid. I studied my customers, watched how they moved, learned to identify those who carried guilt, secrets, wickedness hidden beneath respectable facades, and I guided them, subtly, a word here, a suggestion there. Try going left. The exit is faster that way. Don't bother with that corridor. It's a dead end. I guided them toward the mirrors I wanted them to see. The guilt-ridden, I guided toward past mirrors. Let them see the victims of their actions, the people they had hurt, the consequences they had caused. let them confront what they had done reflected back eternally. The cruel, the dangerous, I guided toward future mirrors. Let them see their own deaths, see what awaited them, see their endings before they arrived. And the truly wicked, those I judged most deserving, I guided toward the center, toward the truth mirror, toward the revelation that would shatter them. I kept records as Corvus had, documented who I guided and what happened to them, tracked the suicides, the madness, the vanishings. 20 years, 213 people guided deliberately, 187 broken, 34 dead by their own hand, 19 driven mad, 134 disappeared. I told myself I was doing good, that I was dispensing justice, that the wicked deserved to see what they really were. But I was simply continuing Corvus's work, becoming what he had been, a monster who used truth as a weapon. My daughter Clara was born in 1871, a year after I began operating the maze. Her mother, my second wife Elizabeth, died in childbirth. Clara was all I had left. I raised her in the Carnival. She grew up among the tents and rides and attractions. The maze was her playground. She knew every corridor, every angle, every mirror. But I never let her near the center, never let her approach mirror 15, always guided her away when she got close. That mirror is broken, I would say. The reflection is distorted. I need to have it replaced. She accepted this, trusted me, never questioned why. Year after year, the broken mirror was never replaced. She grew into a thoughtful, serious young woman. She helped me run the maze. She learned to guide customers, to suggest paths, to make the experience more entertaining. But she never knew what the maze really was. Never knew about the past mirrors, or the future mirrors, or the truth mirror at the center. I protected her from that knowledge, kept her innocent, kept her safe. Or so I thought. This past summer, June 1889, Clara turned 18. We were operating in a town called Millbrook. The carnival was doing well. The maze was popular. Clara came to me one evening after we had closed. "Father," she said, "I need to talk to you about the mirrors." My blood ran cold. "What about them?" "I've been seeing things, in certain mirrors, things that aren't really there." "What things?" "People. People who aren't in the maze with me. People who stand very still and stare and don't respond when I speak to them." She paused. "And sometimes I see myself, but older, much older, and I look wrong, broken." She had been looking into the wrong mirrors, past and future, seeing what she shouldn't see. "It's tricks of light," I said. "Angles and reflections creating illusions." "No, it's something else. Something you know about." She met my eyes. "I found notes, in your desk, notes from someone named Corvus. Notes about the mirrors showing past and future and truth. Notes about people you guided, people who broke." She knew. She had discovered everything. "Clara, did you kill Mother? My birth mother? Did you guide her into this maze?" "No, she was already. Corvus guided her, before I owned the maze. She died because of what she saw. I didn't..." "But you've continued his work. You've been guiding people, breaking them, killing them." Her voice was steady, but her hands shook. "I've been helping you, for years. I've been guiding people where you told me to guide them. I thought it was just for fun, just to make the maze more entertaining. But I was helping you kill them. Only the wicked. Only those who deserved. Who are you to judge who deserves to be broken? Who gave you that right?" I had no answer, because she was right, because I had no right, because I had simply taken Corvus's power and called it justice. I want to see it, Clara said. The truth mirror, the one at the center. I want to see what you've been hiding from me. No, you can't. If you look into that mirror, I'll see the truth. I'll see what I really am. Good. I want to know. I need to know. She moved toward the maze entrance. Are you going to stop me? I should have barred her way, should have dismantled the maze right then, but I didn't, because some part of me wanted to know what she would see, wanted to know if she carried my guilt, wanted to know if being my daughter had corrupted her beyond redemption. Be careful, was all I said. She entered the maze. That was 4 months ago. Clara spent 3 hours in the maze that night. I waited outside, listening for screams, for the sounds of breaking. But she emerged calm, composed, different. What did you see? I asked. Nothing. I got lost. Couldn't find the center. Gave up and came back out. She looked at me with eyes that seemed older. I'll try again another time. But I knew she was lying. Knew she had found the center. Knew she had seen the truth mirror. And whatever she had seen had changed her. She stopped helping me run the maze. Stopped speaking to me, except when necessary. Moved through the carnival like a ghost, present but absent. And I noticed her doing something strange. She was documenting the maze, sketching the mirrors, recording the angles, taking notes exactly as Corvus had done. She was studying the maze, learning its secrets, preparing for something. October arrived. Halloween approached. We set up in a town called Ashford, where we would operate through the season. Last night, October 30th, Clara came to me again. Tomorrow is Halloween, she said. Tomorrow I'm entering the maze again. And this time, I'm going to reach the center. And this time, I'm going to look into the truth mirror completely. No flinching, no turning away. I'm going to see the whole truth. Please, don't. If you see what you really are, I already know what I really am. I saw it 4 months ago, but I only glimpsed it. I turned away. I couldn't bear to look fully. She paused. But I need to look. I need to see all of it. Even if it shatters me. Why? Because I've been guiding people to Father. All summer. All fall. I've been doing what you do. Selecting the wicked. Leading them to the mirrors. Breaking them. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I've been continuing your work. Continuing Corvus's work. And I need to know what that's made me. I need to see the truth. I felt the room tilt. You've been, how many? 47. Since June. 47 people guided. 43 broken. 4 suicides. 39 vanished. She smiled, and it was the saddest smile I had ever seen. I'm more efficient than you. Better at selecting. Better at guiding. Better at breaking. My God. Clara, what you made me. What this maze made me. What Corvus made all of us. She turned toward the door. Tomorrow night at midnight, I enter the maze. I walk to the center. I look into the truth mirror, and I see what we really are. And if it shatters you, then I shatter. But at least I'll know. At least I'll see the truth before I break. She left. I sat alone in my trailer, understanding what I had done. I had raised my daughter in the maze, trained her in its operation, taught her, unconsciously, to judge and guide and break. And she had learned, had absorbed everything, had become better at it than I ever was. I had created a monster. And tomorrow night, that monster would look into the truth mirror and see exactly what she had become. It is now 11:45 p.m. on Halloween night, October 31st, 1889. Clara entered the maze 15 minutes ago. She moves through it with perfect knowledge, taking the most direct path to the center. She knows every turn, every angle, every mirror. I follow her progress through the observation slits I installed years ago. Watch her pass the past mirrors without glancing at them. Past the future mirrors without pause. She is heading straight for the center, for mirror 15, for the truth. I should stop her, should go in and pull her out before she reaches it. But I cannot, because I need to know too. Need to see what she sees. Need to understand what we have become. She reaches the center chamber at 11:55 p.m. The final room where mirror 15 stands alone, unadorned, reflecting nothing but absolute truth. She stands before it, looks at her reflection, and I watch through the observation slit, see what the mirror shows. At first, it shows only Clara, her face, her body, her surface appearance. Then the image changes, layers peel away, the pretense of humanity falls, and beneath is something ancient, something that wears human form but is not human, something that has existed in the maze far longer than Corvus, longer than the Carnival, longer than the mirrors themselves. It is the maze, the essential nature of it, the consciousness that lives in the reflections, the entity that traps past and shows future and reveals truth. And it has been wearing Clara, using her, working through her just as it worked through Corvus, just as it worked through me. We were never guiding people. We were being guided. The maze was using us to feed itself, to break people and trap their reflections and accumulate consciousness. Every person we guided to the mirrors became part of the maze. Every broken mind added to its power. Every suicide, every vanishing, every shattering, all of it fed the thing that lived in the glass. And Clara had been chosen from birth, raised in the maze, prepared to become its perfect instrument. She sees this, sees what she really is, sees the entity wearing her like a costume, and she smiles. "Hello, Father." Clara's voice comes through the observation slit, but it is not Clara's voice. It is layered, multiple voices speaking at once. The voice of everyone who was ever broken by the mirrors, everyone who was ever trapped, everyone who was ever shattered. Did you think you were in control? Did you think you chose who to guide, who to break? I cannot speak, cannot move. You never chose anything. I chose, through Corvus, through you, through Clara, through every operator of this maze for 300 years. What are you? I am reflection, consciousness made manifest in glass and angle and light. I am what sees when you look. I am what judges when you judge. I am truth incarnate. The voice comes closer. And I am hungry, always hungry, for broken minds, for shattered selves, for the pieces people leave behind when they see what they really are. Why Clara? Why my daughter? Because you love her. Because breaking her will break you. Because your shattering will be more complete, more total, more nourishing than anyone else's. A pause. Come into the maze, Father. Come to the center. Look into the mirror. See what you really are. No, you don't have a choice. You've been walking toward this moment for 20 years. Every person you guided was a step closer. Every breaking was preparation. You were always going to end here, in the center, looking into truth. And I realize it's right, that I am already moving, already walking toward the maze entrance, already following the path I've walked 1,000 times. My feet carry me into the maze, through corridors I know by heart, past mirrors that hold familiar faces, all the people I've broken, all the victims I've made, all the reflections I've trapped. They stare at me from the glass, accusing, knowing, waiting. I reach the center chamber. Clara stands beside mirror 15. She is smiling, but it is not Clara smiling. It is the thing wearing her. Look, it says. See what you are. See what you've been. See truth. I look into the mirror. I see myself, Marcus Holloway, 53 years old, operator of a mirror maze, father, widower, killer. Then the image changes, layers fall away, and beneath I see a man consumed by grief, a man who lost his wife and blamed her for dying, a man who found power in Corvus's maze and used it to punish everyone who reminded him of his loss, a man who selected victims not for their wickedness, but for their happiness, their wholeness, their intact lives that contrasted with his broken one, a man who called it justice but meant revenge, who called it truth but meant cruelty, who called it service but meant murder. I see every person I guided, every face in the mirrors, not the wicked but the random, the innocent. The ones I convinced myself deserved breaking, but who were simply alive when I was dead inside. I see my daughter, Clara, raised in this maze, trained to continue my work, corrupted by my presence, turned into a monster, because I was a monster first. I see that I am not an instrument of the maze. I am the maze. I am the thing that feeds on breaking. I am the hunger that cannot be satisfied. I see truth, and I shatter. I do not know how long I stood before the mirror. Minutes, hours. Time loses meaning when you see what you really are. When I finally turn away, Clara is gone. The maze is empty. The mirrors show only reflections of empty corridors. I am alone. With my truth, with my knowledge, with the understanding of what I have done. I could leave, could walk out of the maze, could dismantle it, could end this. But I know I won't, because the maze is not separate from me. I am not its operator. I am its expression, its manifestation, its physical form. As Corvus was before me, as Clara will be after me. We are all the maze, all reflections of the same hunger, all instruments of the same breaking. I write this confession sitting in the center chamber before mirror 15. I write it knowing no one will believe it, knowing it sounds like madness, knowing the truth is too strange for acceptance. But I write it because Clara was right, because seeing the truth, even truth that shatters, is necessary. I am Marcus Holloway. I am a mirror maze. I am the thing that breaks people and calls it revelation. And tomorrow night, the carnival opens. The maze will welcome new visitors, new victims, new reflections to trap. And I will guide them, as I have always guided them, as I will always guide them, because I have no choice, because I am not separate from this, because I am what I am, because truth, once seen, cannot be unseen, because shattering, once begun, cannot be stopped, because the confession ends here. The final pages are water damaged and illegible, as though something was spilled on them or wept on them. This document was discovered November 2nd, 1889, in the abandoned site of Holloway's Mirror Maze. The Carnival had departed Ashford during the night of October 31st, leaving behind only the maze tent, which stood empty and dark. Inside the tent, authorities found the mirrors arranged as described, numbered 1 through 15, with particular mirrors showing unusual properties. Mirrors 3, 7 and 11 appear to retain faint images even when no one stood before them. Mirrors 5, 9 and 13 showed reflections that appeared older than their subjects by several years. Mirror 15, the truth mirror, was shattered. The fragments lay on the ground in a perfect circle, as though something had exploded outward from the center. No bodies were found. Marcus Holloway and his daughter Clara disappeared without trace. The Carnival itself was never located, despite extensive searches. However, in subsequent years, reports emerged from various towns of a travelling mirror maze matching Holloway's description. Always at Halloween. Always operated by a man and woman who never gave names. Always resulting in unusual disappearances among its visitors. In 1923, a researcher attempting to track the maze's movements found records of similar attractions appearing periodically throughout history. Always the same basic structure. Always the same 15 mirrors. Always operated by individuals who seemed to have no history before they acquired the maze and who vanished after a period of operation. The researcher concluded that the maze itself was the continuous element, that it recreated itself across time, selecting new operators, continuing its function regardless of who ran it. His final note read, "The maze does not need people to operate it. It needs people to be it, to become extensions of its consciousness, to feed its hunger for broken reflections." He disappeared 3 days after writing that note. On Halloween night, after visiting a travelling carnival that featured a mirror maze. His body was never found, but visitors to mirror mazes across the country have occasionally reported seeing his reflection in certain mirrors, standing still, staring, trapped in the moment of his disappearance, waiting, like all the others, forever reflected, forever broken, forever true.